Happy frickin' Friday. The MartiniWorks Podcast is here, and the weekend is almost here, and we have a very special guest today because we offed Alex. He's no longer here, and we have Brent. Brent, you want to introduce yourself?
What's up? I'm Brent. I was here in a past life with everybody.
Yeah, we know Brent very well. We've all worked together before.
Well.
And huge announcement, breaking the ice here. He now works at MartiniWorks with us again.
Yes. Let's go.
So because of you guys, the people that are listening, we've been able to grow our team, get another person to help us out. Brent's phenomenal at cinematography, video editing, all that kinds of stuff. So we're super excited to have you on board. You were in Wisconsin, then you moved down to Florida, right? What did you do while you were down there?
Yeah, so I went down to Florida because I wanted to do some freelance production. Had a couple goals, wanted to work with some clients I had in mind. Ended up working with Chelsea Denofa, doing some Formula Drift stuff.
Dang.
That was pretty cool. That was the first event I did with him was at Long Beach, and going on the track there was like, I had to take a photo of myself on the track. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing it. I'm really doing this thing.
Yeah.
And because shooting Formula Drift has been a goal of mine since I was like, I don't know, 16.
Absolutely.
Like for a long time. So that was like really, really crazy. Another goal that I had when I was moving down there was to like somehow get, I was admittedly, it's fanboying a little bit. I was like, I got to get on the LZ compound. I'm going to be in Orlando, right? So anyways, I sent like email after email after email to Drift HQ. I was like, that's probably my best bet to like get on the compound is just go to Drift HQ. And they didn't really reply for probably about like 5 emails.
Damn. Okay.
And then eventually I went to OSW just to like hang out at a drift event and kind of get to know the crowd down there. And this one guy was shooting video on like this old VHS camera.
Nice.
And we ended up, just shooting the shit or whatever. And it turns out that he was the media guy for Drift HQ.
Oh, no way.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, are you Film HQ? And he's like, oh, you're the guy who's been sending us all the
Yeah, we've had meetings about you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Bodyguards coming.
Right. So after that, like after meeting Joel in person, it was kind of different. So like he then talked to like his guys, and then they took me a little more seriously. And so ended up having like they invited me to come in and just talk and just figure out if I would like fit in there and like whatever.
Yeah.
Actually didn't end up really working with Drift HQ. Like we didn't really end up doing anything together. However, I was on a shoot with Chelsea later.
Yep.
Actually, no, it was actually the first ever shoot that I was on with Chelsea. We were shooting this toge event like in, I think we were in North Carolina.
I remember that. I seen the clips from that. It was insane.
Yeah, it was gnarly. But so in the midst of all this, I'm like shooting Chelsea and Vaughn ripping up this mountain, and I get a text from Collete Davis. And she's like, hey, Drift HQ gave me your number, like hope that's okay, but I'm looking for like somebody to do media.
Hell yeah.
Me. And obviously I said yes.
Yeah.
As I'm like shooting drift cars going through a mountain, already completely overwhelmed. I'm like, what is happening? This is ridiculous. So then, I ended up shooting with Collete, and that was awesome. Colette's like the best person to work with. Like she's super genuine, super nice, and like
That's awesome.
it just ended up working really well. So I'd shoot between the two of them. They were my two main clients. I had like other clients, and
Right.
but as far as automotive stuff goes, it was Collete and Chelsea, and just kind of working between them two. And the first year of working between them, I was so freaking busy. I think I went to like 25 different states.
Holy cow.
traveling.
Yeah.
You were traveling like nuts.
Yeah.
We'd even seen each other a couple times because it was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, Brent's
Yeah.
at Road America. What
Bro,
the hell?
I just remember because we went to that Long Beach event too because we were doing some stuff as well. And I saw a story that you were there. I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, where are you right now? And I think we met up. They did like the night like parade like downtown like Long Beach.
Oh, yeah.
We met up downtown. We got some tacos. It was awesome. And then I saw you like at every other fucking event because we were just running into each other constantly.
Dude, it was It was wild. It was so much. I'm so honestly like traveling was sick and I loved it. I'm so glad to just like chill for a
I
little
know,
bit.
dude. It's exhausting.
It's nice to
a
be
lot.
home. Like it's so cool to go to those events, but people don't realize when you do it like back to back to back to back to back to. It's like nice to just be grounded for a minute, just so you can think. But that's super cool, and I think like I mean you kind of did the enthusiast dream. I think everyone in the Midwest has dreams that makes content, like has dreams of either going out west or going south, get somewhere warmer and still make dope content. Do you have any advice for people that are starting their journey into creating content or want to do it more professionally?
Totally. So I'm actually going to be making like a video like on my own time based on this subject.
Yeah.
And it's a little tricky to explain, but like you got to set your goals properly. So like when I went down to Florida, I learned this like firsthand is like your goals have to meet your criteria. So what I mean by criteria is like the things that make you enjoy life the most are like what you need on like a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So for me, some of my criteria that I need on like say a weekly basis is I need to be outside. I need to work out. I need to express my creative freedom, or however that is. And I need to be social with like friends and family, whatever. The thing with going down and shooting with these big names was more of like an ego-driven goal a little bit of like, oh, look at me, like I'm gonna be shooting with these huge names.
Yeah,
so then
like I did it, you know. Yeah.
Like then I'm like a part of the cool kids club or whatever, right? It wasn't necessarily a goal that would allow me to fill my criteria on a higher level, which like I've learned now it's like that's the way that you want to properly set your goals. So like moving back up north was a more of a proper goal where it's like I'm going to be with all you guys again. That'll fill my social. I'll be able to be in an area that I enjoy more as an environment. So like I'm kind of a psycho. I love snow. I love the cold. So like that's
Rare breed.
Yeah.
right. So that like fills another one of my criteria, and like just being up here will allow me to fill all my criteria on a higher level.
Gotcha.
So yeah, just my advice is that's kind of a more obscure kind of advice. Like
That's all right.
But I think that's good. 'Cause
Right,
people always say the same thing, so it's a unique approach.
yeah. So just make sure your goals are allowing you to just better your life, fill your criteria more, and not necessarily ego-driven.
Yeah. It's basically just saying like make sure that you're going to enjoy that
Totally.
step and that move and not just find yourself and literally like pick up your whole life, move it, and then find out, oh my God, I didn't like it. It's bad. Oh God, what did I do?
Yeah, totally. And that didn't necessarily happen.
No,
Like,
no.
I really enjoyed like where I went and what I did. Like it was mind blowing most of the time. But I did like notice that like the overall goal of doing and work with like working with these people was a little bit ego driven, and I don't know. I think like I did super enjoy it though. But there was like a part of me that was just like felt like it was kind of like missing something.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it makes sense.
yeah.
I like that.
And I think like coming up here and working with you guys is kind of like that little bit that I was missing. Like
Yeah, for sure.
like it's like I like
I missed you too, Brent.
like building something, building
Yeah.
something together rather than just like I don't mean this offensively at all towards the people that I worked with, but like not like riding on the coattails of somebody else.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, being a part of something. And like you said, you have no regrets in doing it. And it was a good, I think, amazing thing for you to do.
Huge opportunity.
Because when you don't go out and do those things, you never learn. And you always wonder, right? Like, what if I would have actually gone and did that? What's it like? And I think sometimes you have to go do temporary things, even if you don't know that they're temporary.
Side quests.
So that way, you get towards the bigger picture and you have that experience. And one thing, too, I've learned in the automotive community, it helps so much with who you know. And you kind of said that with how
the
you like
networking
got
is
out.
huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just get out at car meets, at drift events, at drag racing, and
Literally anywhere.
autocross,
Talk to people.
and talk
Oh, yeah,
to
for
people.
sure.
Shoot their car for free if they have a dope car and you're interested in making content on it. To just start to get to know people in the community, because you will dude, there's people that like when I was 17, 18 and I was out, just literally anyone that would allow me to take photos of their car, I would do it. I still talk to this day, and it led to connections that I made that got me into my professional career that I have now. It's so important with who you know, but I think that's great advice from Brent is, go out, do the thing, and then maybe you'll find out that like, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do. Or it's like, now I have a better idea of what my goals need to be because it's not hitting 100% where I want to be.
Yeah. Also, a good value is like knowing what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Like, you gotta try stuff so you know like what you don't want to do moving forward. Which, I mean, yeah, that's just a big part of it too.
Yeah, we're excited to have you up here. What do you drive, Brent?
I have a 2013 Genesis Coupe R-Spec without cruise control from factory.
That's a big note because going from Wisconsin to Florida without cruise control is
Rough.
Yeah,
a test
I also
to the ankles.
when I lived in Florida, I would always like visit up here, like
Yeah.
like all the time. Like I don't know, the first year that I lived in Florida, I probably visited up here like 5.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
And one of those times, I had a bunch of events that kind of just were like in the middle of Wisconsin and Florida. So I was like, I'll just make a road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I drove all the way from Florida to, I think the first stop was North Carolina.
Yep.
Then to Wisconsin. I had to shoot a wedding in Wisconsin.
And then
Then I
you came down to like Tennessee with us. You like met us in
yeah,
Tennessee.
that's right. Yeah. Came down to Tennessee, went to Gatlinburg with you guys, and I had to shoot in Georgia, I think. It was like Fort Fest or something like that. And then I drove all the way back down to
You
Florida.
did all that in the Gen Coupe, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay,
No cruise control.
the thing I remember is not having cruise control in the Genesis, but when
Don't talk about how it doesn't start.
when we first worked together, Brent had this Genesis and he got it. I was there when Brent got it, all right? And I remember seeing him have to bump start that car basically anytime he let it sit for more than 5 hours, which was like every time he had to leave work.
He'd show up to work and be like, anyone got jumper cables or just want to give me a push real quick? Like, Brent,
Did you get that figured out? Don't tell me it still
this
doesn't.
This is so ironic. This is the most ironic.
No.
This is the most
No, Brent.
niche shit that could happen, I swear to God.
Brent.
So, I did get it fixed, right? It was a crank sensor.
Oh,
All right.
Now it starts like almost every time.
almost.
So my eyes are watering 'cause it's so funny. I pulled it off the trailer. Like Lars let me stay at his place, so I pull it off the trailer, pull it into Lars's driveway, and then get a text from Dustin. Hey, come over to the shop and like let's hang out. My eyes are watering because it's just kind of embarrassing and also just hilarious. So I go to start my car, and it just nothing. No crank, no crank, no start.
Nice.
Like, what is going on? But it has done this a few times in the past. And what I think it is just like a very, very, very tiny spot in my starter that's dead. So like I'll have to bump start it,
Just
and
gotta
that'll
kick her over a little bit. Yeah.
That'll be enough, and then it'll work for like a
Listen,
month or two. You know?
listen. I've been through that life.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. It's rough, but you get through it.
Yeah, my Genesis is somehow. This sounds ironic based on what we were just saying, but somehow the most reliable car I've ever owned.
Hey,
ever.
we're making progress.
Yeah, and it's slowly becoming more reliable
Let's
as
go.
the miles go up. So like,
That's really interesting. It usually don't work like that.
no, not at all. Yeah, but it's also like so. The journey with that car is so strange because when I first got it, it was completely clapped. Like it was not good.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right. Like I
It
remember.
was
like,
rough.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
rough.
There's like a chunk missing out of the wheel. Whoever had it before me was trying to be Ken Block, and they drifted into a curb. And
Yeah.
there was a giant chunk out of the wheel, like
remember that, yeah.
freaking big. It was huge. And so I got new wheels, and I only put it on lowering springs, so I had giant wheel gap. It was on 18s too instead of 19s, so it just really didn't fit very well.
Car.
Yeah, it had a really big gash in the front bumper, and like it didn't start because of the crank sensor, and like it was not good. But after I moved down to Florida, I ended up driving in a hurricane and hitting a giant puddle and ripping my front bumper off. But
Oh my god.
Jesus.
then insurance was like, "Hey, we'll give you a new front bumper." I was like, "Word," because it was already kind
Hell
of
yeah.
messed up. Yeah. So and then I put BCs on it, so it's actually lower. I put 19s instead of 18s on it during all this, so it's a little bit nicer in that regard. Also, I fixed the crank sensor and put a new clutch in it.
Dang.
Hell yeah.
Florida was not very good at my paint. So
Oh no.
clear coat on my mirrors, on my wing.
You just can't win.
No.
Up
So,
here,
like-
it's salt and destroys
Yeah.
everything. You go down there, and now your
the sun.
clear coat's getting destroyed.
Right.
Oh my!
Yeah. So my car got better and worse at the same time. And it's just kind of like an equal balance of just like,
The main question: have you had fun with it?
dude, that has been
Yeah, you
I'm not
rip
even-
that thing.
So I feel like a lot of people like Hyundais. This is not a shot, but I feel like a lot of people who like Hyundais are like, Hyundai's the sickest thing ever. And they try to defend it really
Yeah.
hard because like,
It's like, oh, you don't know. They're
yeah. Saturn guys do that too.
That's true.
But
That's true.
but I'm not even like a Hyundai person, but that car is sick, dude.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's
I've always liked those cars. I always thought they were good.
You have the 6-cylinder one, right?
yeah. I would never get a 2.0. They kind of blow up a lot, especially if you tune them.
See, NA.
Yeah.
NA is the way.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And actually, the chassis is super good for drifting. There's not like as much aftermarket support
Yeah.
as like a 350Z, but there's still enough. There's like you can get angle kits and hydros and all this stuff. You can like I've seen people make full drift builds out of them.
Yeah.
Full interior like delete roll cage, all the things you need. But the suspension geometry is actually really really good for drifting.
Hell yeah.
So I would highly recommend that. If you get a 3.8, I wouldn't recommend getting a 2.0 for drifting. But yeah, the car is just, it's solid, dude. Like it's actually really, really well balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 60-40 weight distribution,
Sure.
but like just in
Just feels good.
it just feels
yeah.
like so predictable. The most predictable car I've ever like owned
Hell yeah.
personally. Not
Yeah, because I
driven, but-
remember when I was before I got the FRS, I was looking around too, and that was like on my radar pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And I test drove a couple, and they did feel really good. I like those cars. I just couldn't
They're
find
good-looking
a
cars.
manual one. They were all automatic. Like when I
Right.
was looking.
Right.
So the fact that you get a manual one is dope.
Yeah. It's hard to find a good Genesis too. So like, if you want to get one, you gotta like prepare to like
Yeah.
fix
I
it a
know.
little bit, Yeah.
I have another car story, not to out Brent, but
Oh.
when he interviewed for the first time, when
Oh,
we first
no.
met, he showed up in a Subaru Legacy, right?
Legacy GT Spec B.
Yeah.
For those who know.
The cool one. You know what
Yeah.
wasn't too cool about it?
Ah.
Brent killed the interview. Everything's good. He goes out to his car. All of a sudden, I see him like walking around, coming back. I'm like, what the hell? He's like, hey, do you guys have any like oil? We're like, what? My car like got no oil in
Like
it.
no of a quick lube like within 20 feet of here.
So bad. Dude, I didn't even want to drive it to a clip.
I know.
Because the dipstick was dry. It was 100% dry.
That's why I knew it was like we need to hire that guy now.
So bad. It was funny because I had just when I really, really have an infatuation for Legacy GTs.
Yeah.
And I've grown up since then. I don't really like EJs that much anymore because they blow up a lot.
Yeah, see?
It's just
Told you.
the Subaru hate is warranted. I'm
Yeah.
Oh, coming from a Subaru guy.
coming from a Subaru guy.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 07 Legacy GT non-spec B. Loved that car. Did a whole ton of stuff, including rebuilding the engine after it blew up. But then I got rid of it. Actually, it got totaled because I hit a deer in a snowstorm.
Damn it.
Yeah, that sucked.
That's the most Wisconsin shit I've ever heard, actually.
For real. I spent the whole day, whole night drifting, having fun with my buddies, in some like parking lots are all snowed over and whatever.
Nice.
And it wasn't until I was driving home going about 30 miles an hour.
Being responsible.
Straight. And a deer came in front of me.
And what?
So,
Oh, no, never mind.
Pause.
Okay.
And it went right in front of my car, saw me, got scared, fell down on the ground, and I
Wait, just fell down.
it did, dude. It's
Like I could run it over.
it slipped in front of my car, and then
Oh.
and I couldn't slow down. I was going so slow, and it still ended up totaling my car somehow.
Jesus.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
to both the Legacy and the deer.
Yeah. So then I really missed that Legacy. So I got a Legacy GT Spec B.
Upgrades.
Upgrades.
They are neat cars.
Super, super cool. For those who know, they know, but for those who don't, the Legacy GT is basically a WRX with a Legacy body, but the Spec B has the STI goodies, like the 6-speed transmission, stuff like that. So it was an upgrade, except for the engine department. So I bought it and I drove home, and then I realized that it was leaking coolant. And so I was like, oh, head gaskets, typical Subaru.
Nice.
Go in, start rebuilding it ish. Like I didn't put a new block in or new heads or whatever, but I took the heads off, had them refurbished, blah blah blah. And I think when I had the heads decked, it lost just a little bit too much clearance, and I think the compression ratio was off a little bit too high. And I had a Cobb tuner, and it just never ran right.
Damn.
So realistically, I should have just gotten like a Pro Tune from like a local tuner or whatever. Yeah. But I didn't do that. I don't think I had enough money at the time.
Fair.
But,
Relatable.
yeah, so I just stayed out of boost for the most part. But another part about that was, and I don't recommend doing that either. Like if your car is not running right, get a proper tune. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
Deal with it.
no, don't just deal with it like I did. Just
Yeah.
get
it dealt with, I should say.
Yeah, totally. But another part of that car that was really terrible was the rings were probably just gone because every tank of gas, it went through about a quart of oil.
Oh my God.
That's horrible.
So on the way to orientation at our previous endeavor, it in the morning it had like low oil. So I put a quart of oil in it as I filled it up in the morning. And I drove to Appleton from Wausau, which is about almost 2 hours, not quite. And by the time, I guess it ran completely out of oil because the dipstick was 100% dry.
God.
Ain't got no oil in it.
And then after that, I was like, I'm getting rid of this freaking car, dude. It's too much. I'm done
you
with
did?
Subarus. And I did. And then I got an Audi S4. And then that had DSG issues. And then I got the Genesis Coupe. So the Genesis
Speaking of Genesis
Coupe's been
Coupe, we're gonna roast Brent one more time.
Oh my God.
We got about
Easy on them.
3 inches, 4 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches of snow.
good. Hey, that's a lot.
Quite a bit.
It was a huge amount,
That's
and way
more
above
than
average, 100%. And Brent still has summer tires on the front of his car, so that leads us to our sponsor, Continental. If Brent would have been here a little bit earlier, knew about Continental and the Viking Contact 7, he would have been right as rain. Even though he did say Genesis made it to work pretty dang good, so he's impressed.
He had 2 blocks.
But with Viking Contact 7s, I'm telling you, it'd be better to drive than it is on dry pavement with sport tires. Viking Contact 7s are amazing. However, we're getting pretty late in the year here. You're going to start looking at your DWS 06 Plus for your all seasons or Extreme Contact Sport 02s for the summer coming up. And both those tires are going to rip. So don't wait until the last minute to get your stuff. Get it now. And a huge shout out to Continental for being the sponsor of the MartiniWorks podcast. And you can check them out at MartiniWorks.com.
Win.
Word.
All right, Brent. I always get this question as someone that makes content. What's your opinion on gear? You think you got to shell it out and get the good stuff? Or can you get by with the cheap stuff?
So I get where buying gear is important. Having nice stuff is definitely important. Although, this is an interesting question because I run super like minimal, ridiculously minimal. I basically had, like when I shot Formula Drift and stuff, I used a handheld rig. So I had an A7S3 with a little handle off the side of the cage and a shotgun mic. And that's like what I used. And that's pretty much what I still use for the majority of things. Rarely ever use a gimbal. I think it's so tricky because gear absolutely matters. Like you need like a nice camera if you're trying to produce, like, say you want to shoot something horizontal, but you want to have that ability to like crop in and do vertical if you want. Like,
yeah.
And like, I don't know. It's tough because to be taken seriously, you sometimes need to have that high quality unless you can somehow work with a lower quality image and like kind of lean into it, maybe do like a film kind of style look and stuff like that. I'd say overall, your skill level matters way more than gear.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
100%. I think you can make stuff work a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
can.
You work with what you can get. And if you're just starting out too, don't even fucking worry about the latest and greatest. Just go get something to start making content with.
Right.
And then you can kind of figure out what style you're doing, and then you can help, that'll help make your decision of what you need to get into next.
Yeah. My advice is like max out the gear that you have and then move up. So when I first started, I had like a Canon M50. It's like a $400 little Canon crop sensor mirrorless camera. And I had that, a kit lens, and a 50 millimeter 1.8, like a $200 lens. And I used that for, I don't know, like 3 years or so until I absolutely maxed out that camera. I was like, I really don't know what more I can do with this at this point. Like, I've used all the features available. I know the camera inside and out.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, now I can upgrade. And as soon as I upgraded, my like just quality and content and everything just skyrocketed because I was like, that ceiling was no longer there and I could go up again.
Right.
So like, I don't plan to upgrade my camera again until I'm at that ceiling.
Sure.
Like once I know that I'm like using my A7S III to its max capability, which it's a good ass camera still, even though it's pretty old. Like
100%. I still use my A7 III.
Yeah.
I've had that shit for like 4 or 5 years now, probably 5 years. And Sony does a really good job at having cameras that are good for photo and video. They're a good mix.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. I think that would be my recommendation is like just max out the gear that you have now and then move up. Also, it's more satisfying that way too, because it's like once you move up, you're like, oh, damn, like I can do that. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for the last, God, I don't even, decade, pretty much, I've just like mooched my wife's like Canon 80D. Didn't even shoot 4K. It shot like 1080. And even then, it was like old 10. Like it just wasn't, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I 100% agree with that. It was like that camera still taught me so damn much, and it was like,
And you still made a lot of dope content with it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and it was like, and I was still able to like do what I wanted to do. The only thing that like was, like you said, it wasn't there was the
Oh God.
there we go.
Don't touch that.
It had that limits, right? And then once I like realized what those limits were, it was like, okay, now I know what to look for in the next camera that I want. Because otherwise, it was just like, oh, well, yeah, no, you just go buy the latest and greatest. And it's like, well, you know, the camera that I did buy was again a couple years old because it still did exactly what I needed to do, but it wasn't, you know, $5,000. It was half of that.
Yep.
Because I just knew what I needed and what I was shooting for next. But yeah, I mean, that freaking old Canon brought to EAA last year slapped like a really good lens on it and was able to do more with that camera than ever before just by swapping out the lens on it too.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, the capabilities are, you know, in there.
Yeah. And honestly, there's so much that you can do with just your phone. Like,
yeah,
if you're,
it's
so much.
surprising.
Yeah.
yeah. So like, if somebody's like just getting into it, I mean, I would say like just master your phone first. You know, figure out
Honestly.
what you can do. Like, I don't know what you'd use in place of CapCut. Now the CapCut is like not a thing anymore.
It's back.
It still works.
It's bad.
It's back.
Yeah, it might go away again. We don't know, but
Use it while you
for
got
now, it's there. I love CapCut. I'm not gonna lie, I love CapCut.
Yeah, CapCut works great. Like it's so good. You can do all the fancy speed ramp videos, like all the trendy
They
stuff.
make it easy.
Yeah, super easy. So I mean, I'd say like master CapCut, master your phone, and then figure out if you want a camera from there.
You might feel a little silly using your phone for stuff, but don't. Like the cameras that come in these new phones are absolutely
They're nuts.
insane. You shoot 4K 120 now, you know, if you need to, or the 4K 30, 4K 60 looks phenomenal. You can make vertical videos super easy and then edit them on CapCut and do what you need to work with what you have. Don't let like equipment be like, well, if I had, you know, this expensive Sony, then I'd be making. No.
Totally.
Just shoot with what you have.
The most important part about making content is the context, like the content itself. So like if you have something of really boring subject, really boring content, and you have like the greatest gear and like a hype edit, it's not going to do anything.
It still comes down to you.
Yeah, it's not gonna perform at all because like the actual context of what you're shooting sucks. So like you have to like plan for that first. Like make sure your content itself is sick, whether it's recorded on like a potato or it's recorded on like a really nice camera.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, you met the guy for Film HQ, Drift HQ, and he was using a VHS camera.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's like we seem to have a VHS camera now thanks to Dustin, just in constant rotation.
Yeah.
Anytime we go to a car show. And guess what our favorite footage is to go back and watch? It's the fucking VHS footage. Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's
wild.
Like, it's vibey.
There's footage of Joe's looking for a Sasquatch on that, and I'm just, no one knows about it except us.
The Sasquatch was Dakota.
We hunted. The camera has fucking night vision.
Dude, it was so sick.
Yeah.
We need to find
You
that.
could get it for like $40.
We did a whole episode of like finding Bigfoot in the hills of Tennessee by our cabin.
It exists.
It's out there.
It's somewhere. We were a little sauced up.
We were pretty sauced up. I was out there doing like the wood knocks.
We should just upload that as a video.
I was doing the
No context at all.
doing the whoops. I watched a lot of Finding Bigfoot.
Gatlinburg after movie.
Start with that.
2024. Just put the hunting clip. No, don't put anything else. Just the Sasquatch hunt.
Dustin, I need the Sasquatch footage.
He left. He went home.
Ah, shit.
He don't work.
He's
it.
going to get it.
Have
Yeah.
to.
Oh, yeah.
He knew.
Oh man, Brent. Well, you got to work with some big and cool creators.
For sure.
What would you say makes a good automotive YouTube channel?
Ooh, that's a really tricky question.
It is. That one's tough.
Because
I
it's
need to know.
so
I'm gonna write this down.
saturated.
Dude, yeah, it's
so
insanely
saturated. It's ridiculous. And honestly,
Which doesn't mean don't do it though,
yeah.
but it makes it
It's very tough.
It's
to
just
stand out. Yeah.
It's like being in media and like wanting to make a name for yourself, but going to LA. It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
the same thing
Yeah.
because it's like you go to the most saturated place, you have the most like competition, but at the same time, like that's going to elevate you a ton because like you have to stand out. You have no other choice, otherwise you're going to get eaten up, and like nobody's going to pay attention to you.
Yep.
I mean, you got to find a unique style. So one thing that I would say is like, don't just do a build series. Like, don't just like have like don't have your car in your garage and just like start making videos on you building it. Like, have some sort of thing that like makes you stand out. Maybe do film yourself building, but like do it in a way that's like completely different than anybody else. Like, I plan to, and I'm kind of like exposing myself for this, but I plan to like build a car in my garage and make content on it, but I'm going to do it in a way that hopefully stands out a little bit. I have an idea of like putting a GoPro on my head while I'm doing like whatever I'm doing and doing it almost like a moto vlog.
Yeah.
So like, and I have no idea if this will work, 'cause I haven't tried it yet, but
Right.
basically talk about a certain subject, whether it's automotive related or not, while I'm working on my car. And like,
I like that.
kind of like, it kind of satisfies like that ADHD kind of like,
Because you're seeing
low
stuff
attention
worked
span.
on.
I was
Like,
gonna
you're
say,
listening
it's
to
almost
it.
like the Temple Runner
exactly.
while like a news story is
Yeah.
being played. Like, and I
Yeah.
don't mean that in a bad way. It's really smart. Like you're
Right.
watching something get accomplished while you're talking about a topic,
Yeah,
and that's a
it's-
unique way to
it's
go
like-
about it.
It's like watching a Joe Rogan clip and then there's Subway Surfers.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
So like that's my avenue, and like I said, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'll try it and see if it works. But like that's gonna be my way of like standing out when I'm doing my build on my channel. But like just like try to figure out a way that you can do something that doesn't look like everybody else, because everybody just like does a build series. This is what I'm doing today. I'm gonna put a wing on my car. It's like nobody really cares that much.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, it's like what do you
because there's
what are you
18 other videos of someone doing
100%.
that.
And
unfortunately.
and that's not meant to be like a diss or anything. It's
No.
just meant to be. It's like when you have, like you said, thousands and thousands of videos. I'm not even joking. Uploaded every day of people doing the same thing. It's like, what would make someone want to watch yours? Is it like a story that you're bringing to the table along with it? Is it a way that you're shooting it that makes it easier to watch or like more enjoyable to watch? Is it the personality that you're bringing to the screen? Is it like, because I want to accomplish this goal for something and you followed along with this person for this time? You know, there's so much outside of just what you're doing that really can make or break, you know,
Totally.
how it performs and how you can be successful with that.
And I think Brent said something really good in there too. You said, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm just going to try it. And see
Exactly.
if it works.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing. Your first idea might not be what you lock in for your channel. You should be just constantly trying a bunch of things. And once you notice something stand out a little bit, oh, this one performed a little bit better. What can you replicate in that and continue to do? Because if you can figure out what worked well in that one episode and start bringing that into your content and replicating it, you can then kind of have a series going and find your niche and what's going to work for you. So you have to just constantly keep trying things, and you don't know if it'll work. That's just content. I don't care how good you get. You never really know 100% how something will perform until it's out there and you do it a few times.
And it can be the most random thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
it can
it
be the most
doesn't-
random shit.
It doesn't have to be elaborate either.
No.
Like you can do like the simplest thing.
Yeah.
And
'Cause-
like minimal editing, just recording on your phone.
Yep.
And like
And that gets a bunch of views. And then you can have the most cinematic thing you've worked on, you planned, you scripted, you drew every scene out, you watch it, you're like, this is my favorite video I've ever made, and then it performs like ass. And it's almost like that. It's like the video you put the most effort into just doesn't perform. I don't know why it's like that, but it is, and it's cruel.
And
it is very cruel.
Sometimes it just comes down to the context itself, like what's in the video. Like, you know, it doesn't always come down to like how fancy you can make it.
Right.
Like we were talking about.
Yeah, and I'd always say too, like, make content you genuinely enjoy. Like, you would sit down and watch it yourself, because if you won't sit down and watch it, nobody else is gonna fucking sit down and watch it. So you have to make a video, and I think it starts there. Like, don't do it in the sense, and I know you guys have heard this, but like, don't do it like, oh, I'm gonna go make money by doing this. You have to just go and make videos that you enjoy. It's fun. Like, after you get done, you can sit with your friends or your family and watch it and just enjoy it, or have it to look back on in a year and be like, oh man, look when I was starting to mod my car and I have this video of it. It's so goofy. And like, you have it just for that sake, rather than like, oh, I want to make $1 million off this video and get sponsored some 3-piece wheels. Yeah, that's not going to happen. At least not right away.
Yeah, totally. It takes a long time to build up something like that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree completely. Like, make something that you want to go and look back at, and like, it means a lot to you. And then, I mean, when you have that passion into it, then other people will eventually follow.
Yeah, passion shows more than anything on screen. It's like, anyone can tell when it's just like, oh no, I'm just doing this for the sake of doing it. I have to do this, versus someone who's like, no, I'm really fucking pumped for this because I've been wanting to do it. I'm passionate about it. Like, done the research, like knows what they're doing, and is like, and I mean, I guess you don't even have to know what they're doing. You just be passionate about it. And it's like, hey, I've never done this before. I'm learning it, but I'm really fucking pumped for it. Like, that goes so much further than anything else when it's like, just, you can relate with that. Like, they're excited, makes you excited.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I mean, people will gravitate towards like your energy that you give. You don't want to like just be like kind of like, you know, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is like, show your personality.
Oh, 100%. Like, yeah, lean into it. Lean into it as much as you can.
Yeah. If anything, like, exaggerate your personality a little bit.
100%. Yeah. Whatever your personality is, don't try to be someone else's personality. Think about what your personality is, and then exaggerate it slightly. Yeah. And and that doesn't mean like yell more or talk louder. No. Maybe for some people, because I yell a lot and I talk a lot, but that's not what that means necessarily. So just think what your personality, because whatever it is that is your personality is the most unique thing about you. That's what is going to stand out more than anything else. And no one can replicate it, because that's just who you are. So think about what that is. Even if you're the most monotone motherfucker on the planet, lean into that and be the most monotone motherfucker on the planet, because there's an audience for that. And there's people that enjoy listening a calm, cool, collected video rather than me slamming my head on a desk and screaming. Some people fucking hate that. And that's just the way it is. That's another tip, though. Like, your content will never appeal to everybody. Someone's always going to hate it and someone will always love it. You'll connect with someone that it makes sense with, and then there'll just be somebody that hates it for no fucking apparent reason. So get used to that too.
A lot of people out there.
Yeah.
If you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. If you have haters, you're doing something right.
Yeah. Hate me.
Yeah.
No.
Wait.
Don't hate me.
You know what I don't hate?
Fortune Auto coilovers.
Yeah, I don't hate those. I really like those.
I love those. They're super good.
Yeah. You want me to tell you more about them?
Please.
Okay. Wait, I want to hear.
Yeah. You want to hear?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't hate Fortune Auto, because they actually make really good stuff. And they just so happen to be a second sponsor of the MartiniWorks Podcast, which is also pretty neat.
Yep.
No, we've been a longtime fan, Fortune Auto, even before we started this whole shindig. And they've been making some great coilovers for quite some time. Whether you're looking for something for daily driving, you want some spirited, maybe track use on the weekend, you're finally going to sign up for that track event this year that you've been talking about for the last months. You're going to do it, all right? Because you just got some Fortune Auto 500 coilovers, and they're going to do it perfectly fine. They're going to be awesome. Daily driving, track use, the 500 is awesome. If you're looking for something a little more dedicated to track use, upgrade to the 510. Good news, if you start with 500, you can always upgrade to the 510 later. They're modular, they're rebuildable, and they make them specifically for you. They can help you with spring rates, can dial in the actual valving and everything to specifically what you want. They dyno test everyone. If it doesn't meet the specs, they completely rebuild them. Trust me, we've seen it. It's crazy. I'd probably lose my mind if I worked there, because it's just doing the same thing. Crazy. They make some really good stuff, and they're made right here, or assembled right here in the U.S., which is another, value prop that some people like, and it's really really cool to see. And they've been a long time supporter of us. We've been a long time supporter of them. So if you're looking for some Fortune Auto coilovers, make sure to check them out at MartiniWorks.com. And of course, thank you so much for sponsoring this podcast.
Hey, you had a Mark IV Jetta back in the day, right?
I did.
I knew I liked you.
I've actually had 3.
Oh,
Bragging.
I've had a lot of just Volkswagen products.
yeah, you like cars that give you problems.
You know, the 1.8
Hyundais, Volkswagen, Subarus.
Honestly, Volkswagens have always been very good to me.
Yeah, the thing is, like, they have these things come up, but like, it's never gonna leave you stranded. It's always gonna keep chugging and keep going through it. But there's gonna be weird quirks, if you want to call it that, about it.
Features. Yeah, I've only had 1.8 turbos. I did have 1.20 and a Mark V GTI, and that was not a good engine. It kind of blew up.
That'll leave you stranded.
Yeah, oil.
No, it'll still run. You just gotta.
Oil pump issues. Yeah. Unfortunately, it happened to the person who bought it after me, not me.
Oof. What do you guys think is the most unreliable car brand?
Oh,
I had tortilla chip in my throat. Sorry.
Hey, run it back.
What do you guys think is the most unreliable car brand?
I have no actual knowledge on this, but I've just heard that it's been Jeep.
Oh,
Jeep is-
okay. Yeah,
Jeep is
I've
not
heard
very great.
they're always at like the bottom of the list, or maybe it would be top of most unreliable.
From personal experience, Subaru.
Subaru.
Just outing Subaru once again. But
Charles has personal experience with Jeep.
I have experience with both. My Subaru blew up and the Jeep blows up every 2 months. So yeah, those.
is that like a timing issue or?
No, so well, the Subaru was. I mean, I bought it out back, and I took an exit ramp, and it started itself with oil and blew up. So, can't handle the roads of Wisconsin. You know,
Crazy roads up here.
Corners, dude.
yeah, don't take those accelerated high G corners of off ramp of 41. Apparently,
Well, you said that was in your Subaru or your Jeep?
that was the Subaru.
Of course.
Yeah, I literally like took the off ramp, totally fine. Car was perfectly fine. Took the ramp to work one day, and all of a sudden I got like stopped the turn, and I was like, "The hell is that ticking noise?" And then it got worse and worse and worse. Like as I drove
I
down the
remember you
road.
got to work. You're like, come outside. It was like, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
Why?
horrible.
Imagine buying a vehicle that can't corner.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
all your oil just goes to one side, and then you're
Perfect
like-
drag car, Subaru Outback.
It was like during the middle of the winter, so it's not like I was being like super aggressive with it. I'm just literally trying to get to work. Anyway, yeah, Jeep issues, just random shit. It's the most weird shit too. Like we've had to replace. Granted, we should have replaced it with the fixed version to begin with, but the shop that we took it to apparently didn't give us that option. They just replaced it with the same shitty one. They have like an oil cooler, essentially. It sits in the V of like the V6. Mm-hmm. And it's also where like the oil filter like housing like neck and stuff is. They're made of like composite, so they're like plastic. Heating, cooling, sitting right on top of the engine. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Eventually
Sick.
cracks, leaks all of the oil out because it's a pressurized system into the valley of the engine. And you go to move it one day and like fucking 5 quarts of oil will just fall out on the ground because it's all just sitting in a pool.
It's gotta be so terrible to clean up. Like you could never clean it up.
Yeah, you literally have to go in there, like take the whole like obviously like top portion.
intake manifold.
Yeah, the intake manifold off and everything. So you gotta like replace all your gaskets and shit. And then it's like they really gotta take like a vacuum and like fucking all the oil.
fucking BP
Yeah.
spill, clean it
It's
up.
horrible.
So what's the fix? They have one that's not composite.
Yeah, they have a metal one that you have to buy for like twice as much.
But the OEM one's still just plastic.
Yeah, the OEM ones are they just break. Actually, Dustin just had same exact thing happen to his
I
too.
will never get the hype for Jeep ever.
And his wasn't even like the culty Wrangler one. It was just a
All right, let's flip it on its head.
Most
All right.
reliable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's
Most
the most
reliable?
reliable car you can get?
Is this from personal experience or just what we think overall?
You can go with a gut check.
I feel like Toyota got to be up there.
Toyota for sure.
See, everyone's
Toyota for sure.
But I think that's a good sign because my gut check too was Toyota. I was gonna say a Camry. Like I've never heard someone, oh, my Camry blew up. Yeah, never.
So I'm skeptical about what's the name of the new engine that's in the Tacomas and 4Runners, that 4-cylinder
There's some weird shit
turbo.
going on. They're
Yeah.
having weird shit with their. Oh yeah, they did do a 4-cylinder turbo, and it's been
It's been like hit or miss. I don't know what exactly.
the transmissions are weird too.
Yeah, well, I feel like Toyota have been kind of hit or miss like in the newer years, but like early 2000s, 90s.
Dude, everyone with a
good.
4Runner, like an early one. That shit has like 300,000 miles.
Every single one of them.
Hell yeah.
And they're still 30 grand.
If it has like the gold badges on it, that shit'll last forever.
It's the equivalent of having like a gold tooth.
Yeah.
It's a bad motherfucker.
It's
God damn.
Badass.
That's
actually.
Badass.
Been saying badass a lot.
Yeah,
You're getting caught up.
Yeah,
That's
once
a
you get a little bit older, you can
badass.
start saying it too.
Yeah. Saying badass is bad.
All right, best car to modify.
Best car to modify, like brand.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Who do you think caters most to the enthusiast as a brand?
Well, that's a separate question, I feel like.
A little bit.
I'd say that second question
Okay,
you asked, I would say
The modified tuner, I would say. Who caters most to modified enthusiast? Because I get what you're
tough,
saying. Because like
yeah.
you could have a really good stock sports car like that goes towards enthusiast.
I was gonna say Hyundai for that.
Really?
Yeah. Like they're just they're
Yeah.
like the new like Elantra N and everything is just they're just like made for a younger audience, but
Yeah.
they're like fun, right? They have all kinds of like
N, Elantra N.
yeah.
Yeah, the Genesis line, like they have done a good job. I would say like BMW for like a stock car
Yes.
enthusiast vehicle. I think they maybe Porsche too would be neck and neck with BMW. Throwing price out the window here, that's irrelevant. But their cars, I feel like, are just like they know exactly what a fucking car
Like
enthusiast
we're gonna give you
wants.
this car to meet the regulations that we need, but just do this one little thing, and it's gonna be a fucking animal.
Yeah,
Do whatever you
Like,
want.
we're not gonna tell you need to do that, but you should probably do.
It makes you think you're a better driver than you are 100%. Like they're phenomenal. But for like a modified, like
Dude, I
I
feel
think
like
Honda.
Honda. Yeah, I was gonna say Honda.
for
Honestly,
sure.
as much shit as we give it, like Subaru too. I mean, the freaking
Oh
aftermarket.
hell no!
The
I
aftermarket
agree.
support,
Get out!
the
I
aftermarket
agree.
support is insane.
It's
like
ridiculous.
you can go.
I don't think Subaru acknowledges it though.
They don't acknowledge it.
So that's where I'm gonna draw a line because like Honda, they were at least doing this. It was maybe a year ago. They were showcasing customer builds, and it was the dopest thing. Like they'd show a fucking slammed Civic,
Yeah.
but it was super clean, and they're posting on the official Honda Instagram. They're like, look at so and so and their Honda Civic from 1995 or whatever, and here's the mods he has done. I was like, that's so cool.
VW does that too.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think honestly, VW is probably another good answer.
They're
to that
another
question.
one. Yeah, 100%. I've seen them. I've seen them do like ads with modified ones and stuff too.
Also, a hot take. Mark IVs are the equivalent to. They're like the European Civic. I don't know. If
Yeah.
that's merit.
Well, but yeah, with more issues.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the European Subaru.
It's like the European tuner car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's something about Golfs and Jettas, Mark IV specifically. I don't know. I fucking love them.
Me
Yeah.
too. They're just
They
they're like
killed it
simple,
in that
dude.
era.
They're
like,
piles, but I love them.
but they look dope and they're fun as hell. Like that's
look
just
great.
like they were just like a perfect like conglomeration of like, yeah, it's gonna kind of kick your ass at sometimes. It's not gonna last forever, but it's gonna be fun and you're gonna love it.
Dakota.
Yeah.
VR6 or 1.8T.
Oh, that's tough, and I've had both. Mm-hmm. Oh man,
Still only have one. though.
That's true.
you're right. Okay, this is for fun. I'm gonna say 1.8T.
Sure.
Okay.
For reliability, VR6.
and sound.
Sound, yeah, 100%. The VR6. I came into work today, and Lars popped his head out. He's like, "What the hell?" Like, I don't think he's ever like seen the Jetta driving by or something. He's like, "Bro, why does that sound so good?" I was like, "Well, it has a little axle back exhaust." And he's like, that thing sounds crazy because they do sound
Yeah.
super
sound
fucking
awesome.
good.
Dude, I remember our friend Edgar had that R32.
Yeah.
The VR6 in it. Dude, that thing sounded so
They
good.
sound amazing.
I love
Chewbacca.
that car. Yeah. Yeah, Chewbacca
The
cars.
best Chewbacca noises.
It's the cheapest GTR you can buy, actually.
Your 1.8T
Because it sounds just like it.
is probably going to blow up at some point, but it's just so fun modifying a turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it's so easy. And like they have so many stupid tunes
Yeah.
for those 1.8Ts.
Honestly, 1.8s, I don't think they're unreliable, man. I think they're
Well,
they're
I think
really
the people that
simple.
modify them don't do it right.
A
and
lot
then
of
you
people
get
don't
the
do it
car
right.
and the thing's fucked already.
Yeah, so the issue is people will they'll do one of two things. They'll either like they'll put like a KO4 on it, but then they'll moon boost it, and like the turbo's not good for
They're gonna
anything
what?
over like
Yeah.
21
moon
psi
it.
ish, and or they'll put a big turbo on it and they'll spool it up too early, and they'll bend the rods because the rods can't handle very much torque. So as long as you like do a little bit of research, like you don't even need a lot of research. Like the 180 is a really simple engine. As long as you like
Do one Google search.
really like the main things that you need to make anything of a substantial power is just rods and exhaust valves.
Or just don't buy one expecting to make power. It's a fucking 4-cylinder Golf. Like, chill out. Just enjoy it.
I mean, fair.
But no,
Fair.
there are people that do absolutely nasty builds on these things. So it can happen. The problem is, Brent, that there's not any more clean Mark IV 1.8Ts on the planet. They are extinct.
You know where they're
So
hiding?
ridiculous.
So you're screwed.
You know where all the 1.8Ts are
They're
hiding?
not. They're gone. They're extinct.
Nope, they're all hiding in the Audi TT.
Yeah,
It's
that's
true, dude.
Yeah.
TTs are going to be the next
Them
big
bubbly
platform.
bastards.
Bro, TTs are so underrated. I hate the way they look, but they're so underrated
Yeah.
because like you get the all-wheel drive.
They're
you get the
too
180,
symmetrical,
like-
and I fucking hate
The first gen is so bubbly.
I know.
Yeah.
Like I
They're so
do
ugly.
like those cars. Like they kind of have a soft spot because like I remember when like the Need for Speed like Underground came out or Underground 2 and I was like, what the fuck is this car? It looks
Yeah.
crazy. I think I ran that car like the majority of the time because I'm like I thought it looked kind of cool, and then I was like,
When I was a kid, I liked them
it's
too.
symmetrical and it's kind of bubbly and kind of weird, but then it's like, yeah, but they can still kind of get down and they're kind of sick.
Down,
Like,
dude.
Dude, the newer TTRS,
Oh my
they're
god.
dude, those are on another level.
Those are sick.
Those literally are mini R8s.
And those also look good too.
They look
Yes,
really good.
like,
Yeah,
they look
they
phenomenal.
fixed.
Yeah.
They fixed this. They just added a little more to the back, and that's all it needed. Like,
Yeah, they look just aggressive enough, and like, dude, they sound so sick.
no, TTs are underrated.
I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure, so I could be wrong. But the 5-cylinder is like a modified version of half of the V8 engine, or half of the R8 V10.
V5.8. Yes.
it even kind of looks like a mini R8.
Yeah.
Like they shrunk it.
It gets me every. My
Honey,
there was
I shrunk the R8.
there was a guy in my neighborhood that I don't know if he would just like leased it or if like he works at a dealership or something. He had like a red one. He like
A TTRS?
yeah, it was like the newer one, dude. I swear it fucking got me every time I thought it was an R8 coming down the road.
They're sick as
And
hell.
it sounded good too.
They're expensive as
Also,
hell.
I don't know if the TTRS got this differential, but I think it did. The RS3, same chassis.
Yeah.
The new ones have a differential in the rear that can send. So with Hall decks, you can only get 50% of power to the rear, but with the new differential, you can send all of that 50% of the power to the outside wheel if you're in like a certain drive mode or whatever.
Interesting.
So it oversteers a lot.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drift mode.
Yeah, it's essentially drift mode.
Yeah.
Audi is like too proper to
all-wheel
like
drive.
say
Yeah, they
drift
won't
mode.
say.
Yeah.
They would never ever say that. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
that's dope.
I think it's something like torque rear or something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
something official,
Right.
German. RS3s and RS5s, so sick. I love them.
So rad. The
Great cars.
RS3 actually has a staggered setup, but it's reversed from what you would think. The front end is a little bit wider. They have wider tires in the
Really?
front than the rear.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
Because
hate that car now.
It's very it's front bias by default.
Backwards.
Also, Audi is like just notorious for having front end like push in corners and stuff because they're so front heavy. So they were trying to like
Help with
combat that a little bit.
fair.
Yeah,
You had an S4 for a bit.
I did have an S4.
Did you
I had
like
it. I loved that car. It was like the best daily I've ever
The B8, right?
owned, other than the DSG not working very well.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a 2010 S4, so the 3.0 supercharged. It was, I think it was a prestige package. Had the sport differential, so it actually oversteered a little bit too, which was kind of nice, kind of fun. In the wintertime,
I was gonna say I seen you rip it in the snow a couple times, and it was
yeah, it was,
feel like
it was
sick.
awesome.
I feel like there was a couple years there where those cars really like had a comeback, and then now I don't see them as much anymore.
Yeah, they have they have a lot of potential, but their ceiling comes really fast.
Yeah.
So like you can do like dual pulley and like all the supporting mods, and I think they peak around like 450, 500, and then you have to like build the engine, and not a lot of people like dig into that platform past that ceiling that you have.
Those cars are fun. I remember having a good time in that car.
Yeah, dude. They
They sound cool too. Like a supercharged, like you never really see like supercharged cars outside of like American Muscle stuff anymore. So yeah, like hearing.
well, SS,
Oh yeah, yeah. American Muscle.
LSJ, maybe. They came supercharged for a little bit.
Yeah.
supercharged ones blow up a lot more.
No, the Copilot SS platform was pretty reliable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. And those LSJ, the supercharged ones, you can get for dirt cheap.
Because everyone wants.
You
the
can
turbo
just
ones.
have an absolute hoot of a time. They ripped. I had a turbo one back in the day, but my buddy, He lived in the same town, and he had a supercharged one. And I promise you that they rip just as hard if you want them to. They can really scoot. And yeah, dude, hearing a supercharger scream,
It's so unique. Like,
Yeah, with a 4-cylinder
holy
too.
shit,
like that.
yeah.
yeah, you never expect that. Like I said, like with the S4 too, it's like everything is turbocharged now. If it has
Yeah.
some sort of like force
Saturn
induction.
Ion red line.
Okay, now you're getting.
Dude,
It's the same thing.
I've
You'd
owned
never know
one.
that car was supercharged.
No. Same thing as a Cobalt SS, right?
It's the exact same.
The thing that
Yeah.
drives me so insane about those fucking Ions is the goddamn dash on those things is so fucking weird. It's like in the middle.
Oh yeah, that's
Isn't the dash always in the middle?
No, like your like gauge cluster is like off to the
Oh,
side.
you're that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
right in the center.
Like Mini Cooper?
I'm gonna show you a photo.
No, well, yeah, I guess, but like, it's like a Tesla. Like, there's nothing in front of the steering wheel, and everything is like right in the middle.
It's so weird, dude. It's so weird.
Saturns are weird.
Yeah.
Patterns are weird. Is the
They made a View like red line, and it's really weird too.
I didn't know that.
Is the Ion red line plastic?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that had the plastic curse. Like, so if you see it, you're like, dang, that thing's in good shape. And then you realize it's not, and the entire frame is completely rust out.
Yeah.
Just the entire outside of the car's plastic, so it looks like it's in decent shape.
What a strange choice, but also a
I
good.
get it.
Yeah, it works for the economy. Dude, I owned a Saturn for less than 24 hours one time.
Me too.
I bought it in the dark, and I thought it was okay. Because, dude, what I get it for, it was like $400 or something, $500, and I just needed a daily. Dude, I could poke my finger through the frame, so I had to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
I had a very similar story. My second car I ever owned, I got rid of my first car blew up. Dude, I've had a lot of cars that blown
Yeah.
up. Damn.
Chill.
My buddy Trevor was like, "Yo, get a Saturn. Like, they could actually be sick." I was like,
Hell
"All right,
yeah."
cool."
Who
So
said that?
dude, my buddy Trevor. Anyways, he's like,
You hang out with this guy still?
I'm outing Trevor. Yeah,
Does Trevor have a Saturn?
Trevor's a good dude.
Okay.
But
W Trevor.
Trevor, I went and got this Saturn for like, it was like an SC1 I think for $900, and I brought it home, and it was shaking, and I shouldn't have bought it. Like the brake rotors were just messed up, and like the wheel bearings were going out.
Sounds like a Saturn.
Yucky.
So
No one takes care of Saturns.
no. And then I went to my buddy's house like the next day and started like fixing everything that was wrong with it, putting new brakes on, new wheel bearings and everything. And I didn't have the proper tools, but also it was so like rusty and old that it took me about 12 hours to do everything.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's the
crazy.
worst part,
And
dude. That's
then-
the worst part.
And then I was driving home and I was like, this thing vibrates and it feels like I'm in a spaceship when the car is just stationary idling because everything's just like,
Oh my god.
and I was like, I am getting rid of this car right now. And I had it for maybe like a week maximum. I was like, I will never buy another Saturn again.
Yeah, I wouldn't, even if it's cheap.
Yeah.
Don't get it. Not worth.
Never heard a good Saturn story.
Someone out there has one. No one.
Well,
I know.
there's Saturn guys out there.
I know there are. I know
And
there are.
gals.
Yeah, and gals.
And
Planet people love them.
that's cool. I'm happy for you.
Astronauts love Saturn. All right, that was
Never met one.
fucking
Of you.
horrible joke. I want to say thank you to everyone listening to the podcast. We appreciate you guys so much, and make sure to drop a comment saying welcome Brent.
Welcome, Brent.
He's on the MartiniWorks team. You'll probably see him around some way, shape, or form. Maybe we'll have him on the podcast again if he blows up his car.
Yep.
So he can tell you about it.
Which has a high odds of happening.
Yeah,
apparently,
yeah.
based off my track record.
no.
Your
We
track
like- we
record,
like the
blowing
Genesis.
up, blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. We blowing up, baby, in 2025. Thank you guys for listening, and have a great weekend. Get your car parts at MartiniWorks.com.